Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I'm going to be sharing you a 50+ point wish list for Pokemon Unite. Now, we actually worked on this. I say we because I did it on stream a few days back, and then we kind of touched it up, refined it, and I'm going to go ahead and share it. I wasn't going to make this a video, but I figured why not? Let's go ahead and explain all of my thoughts. I had a lot of community feedback on stream whenever making this list, and there are things on this list that are really massive, like has to happen, definitely needs to happen. There are things on this list that most likely, even though it would be amazing, will never happen. And then there are some things on this list that they're so small it's like it's whatever. But we compiled over 50 different points, and let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to do a little bit of explanation so that way I make sure that it's fully understood and we all know what we're talking about here. So let's dive into it. Drop a like on the video. I definitely do appreciate that. For everybody that's subscribed, I appreciate that as well. If you haven't, go ahead and hit that button now. So number one is more communication / patch notes / social media. This is a very all-encompassing point. It's meant to just say we need more from the developers to feel the liveliness of the game. I want to see more social media posts. I want to see more interaction with the content creators and the pro scene. I want to see better communication in terms of why are they making the changes they're making. I want to see more roadmaps. I want to know, like, oh, this is planned for the next 3 months. I want to know, why they haven't given us a speedster. I want to hear more explanations on the patch notes, or at least have two versions of the patch notes. You can have your kiddie patch notes and you can have your serious patch notes. Essentially, we need that sense of connection. And when you have a dev team and a studio that puts in work, and I know that, like, as far as for English speakers, that would take a little bit of a cost for them to pay for that, to have it translated, or to have a division of people that do that, but I think it's worth it. But essentially, we want that feeling of liveliness, that we can connect with them, have conversations with them, and experience the game with them, and feel like a community and dev team that's all together. That we're in this together. We appreciate the work that each other do, whether it's feedback from one side, whether it's the literal work on the other side, and it just feels much more connected. And that feeling is really important for games, in my opinion, to truly have that level of trust. Number two is either no MVP system or a reworked MVP system. This is a straight reality. When you have systems in the game that are promoted or that are earned, like an MVP badge or whatever you want to call it, when you have something in the game that is earned through a specific type of action, and it's mostly scoring, players will chase that action. There's probably some research study out there I could find that would prove this. Essentially, it doesn't work. It simply does not work. It doesn't get the point across to the player to actually show them what is important. Having this MVP thing is skewing the perception of the players to think that they're doing something good, when more often than not they're actually doing something bad. So you either need to remove it entirely or you need to rework it. The best way to offer MVP is to make it player driven. If I think that my Absol popped off, I'm gonna give him a thumbs up. If my other teammates give him a thumbs up too, guess what? He gets MVP. The reality is that it's trivial. It doesn't matter if you got MVP. The only thing that matters is if you won the game. So I would be fine with just getting rid of it. But if they want to have something cool, a community thing, a thing where it's like, yeah, man, you really did that shit. Like, you did that. That was your game. Then let me vote for it. Don't give some arbitrary, participation badge making the wrong play, because they're going to chase it, and it's not good for the game. It's not good for me. It's not good for the player who gets it, who thinks they're doing the right decision. It's terrible. It's a terrible system. Number three is a visible death count. The reason why I think this is so important is because it is adding more context to the way that a player is playing. If you can leave a game and visibly see how much you died that game, it might make you a little bit more aware of how much you're dying, and then maybe you'll adjust your play. I think that there's just so much context that's missing when it comes to leaderboards or scoreboards rather. People will see damage numbers. I explained this on my stream last night. I had a game of Absol where I had like 27k damage, and I was carrying the game, right? I was always in the right place at the right time. I was getting the objectives I needed to get. I would kill the target that I needed to kill when it made sense, and I didn't need to throw myself at 70,000 damage, right? These damage numbers don't mean anything, man. I think people, even people that are knowledgeable about this game, over sensationalize these numbers. They don't mean anything. The only thing that matters, again, is whether or not you and your team were able to pull together and get a win. But death count being a visible stat would provide players individual context to say, you know what, maybe this is a place that I can improve. Maybe I'm dying too much in the first 2 minutes. If you got 4 deaths and you're still in the laning phase and you're like pre-850Bs or near 850Bs, you're doing something wrong. So we provide a little bit of context to the players in order to improve. Number 4 is a really blanket one, but you have to throw it on the list. Quality of life bug fixes. This is from UI to the way that the game feels, to picking your character, to communication. This is just a little bit of everything. I don't really even have anything specific, but just all bug fixes, all quality of life changes. If you can think of it, it's listed under number 4. So yeah, just for the sake of putting it on the list. Number 5 is more/better balance changes. We need more frequent balance changes, and we need balance changes that are sensible and are just better. The last balance patch we got, it's kind of a joke, right? Like it reminds me of the old Blissey patch, if you remember that, where they like literally had a balance patch for one character and they like barely did anything. It feels like that. Like nerfing Charizard makes no sense. Overbuffing Absol makes no sense. Serena nerf kind of makes a little bit of sense. The Espeon buffs were kind of okay, but everything else just felt really trivial, and there was no changes to Hoopa, no changes to Lucario, no changes to Blissey. It just feels really tone deaf. And again, it's that lack of communication, that lack of like social media presence, the lack of explanation on patch notes, and then it makes it perceptually a bad patch. It feels not good to get a patch like that when nobody's asking for the majority of those changes, and we're all just sitting here twiddling our thumbs thinking, what is this? You know what I mean? Like what exactly are we doing here? So better balance changes, more frequent, and then better communication go along with it. Number 6 is spectator mode quality of life changes. Honestly, this is pretty simple. When we're watching tournaments, we can't see Unite moves. That's pretty much all it is. They could probably find other ways to make the spectator mode a little bit better, like being able to see everybody's items and things like that, just if they wanted to pull it up and talk about it, that could be cool too. But yeah, we need to be able to see Unite moves. Number 7, this is actually a quality of life change, but it's important enough to give it its own bullet point. Stacking item counter. If you have a stacking item, show us the counter in the bottom corner or in the bottom center of the screen. It'd be really, really nice. Number 8, this was actually not my suggestion. Somebody in chat suggested this when I did this on stream. Creator codes. This ties into communication and social media. Support the creators a little bit more. Support the Spraggles, the Chris Heroes, all the competitive players. Like, give us something to promote and promote us back. It builds a symbiotic relationship. It feels better. Again, it has that sense of community. The community can support a creator, or just just literally any kind of creator support. It's not even just creator codes, just creator support would be nice, because we are essentially the foot soldiers, like partially marketing the game. Would be nice to feel some level of respect or appreciation, because to be honest, I don't feel that at all. I don't feel literally anything from this company, this game at all. In fact, if anything, I feel ignored and disrespected. So number 9, Pokemon leaderboards, ranked stats only or filters. The Pokemon leaderboards are nonsensical. It's just a bunch of people spamming quick plays. They have some of them have negative win percentages, some of them have 100% win rate. It's just silly. It's so stupid. If you're gonna leave that, at least give a filter. Otherwise, change it to rank stats. Those Pokemon leaderboards are dumb. They don't mean anything. It's annoying to see someone say that the rank 1 this, or oh, I'm 1,000 on the leaderboard, 200 on the leaderboard, because we all know it doesn't mean anything. It's really stupid. This was another one that was thrown in on chat. I didn't really care for this one too much, but I think it's fine. Player profile stack comparisons. Being able to like pull up somebody's profile, and instead of just looking at it, you could like have yours on the side and compare. Again, I don't think this is too important. You can kind of do that on your own, but it could be an interesting implementation. Number 11, trainer outfit sets sold as individual items. Yeah, like having to fully equip things just feels lazy. Like they make a set and then you're just kind of like all or nothing on it. Like more customization for the player is almost always better. Number 12, item build presets. It'd be cool if every Pokemon had 3 presets you could pick between. So I could have like a Serena that has a stacking item, a Jungle Serena with no stacking item, and then like a tanky Serena build where I'm running like 2 defensive items or something like that. Would be really cool. Number 13, a replay system so you can watch your gameplays back. This one's a bit of a big ask, and I'm mostly thinking from the development like tech side of things. Might be really hard for them to build. Then again, they do have, it's kind of like a replay system with spectator mode because it has the 2-minute delay, so maybe they already have the framework for it and they could build it, but this one feels like a big ask. But yeah, a replay system would be awesome. Number 15, increase the trainer level or add a prestige level system for more rewards. Each season we stay at trainer level 40. People like the feeling of getting on the game and earning something for their time, and having those like leveling systems is fun. Every season they should add a new prestige level where we can go to 40 again, or add more levels per season, or whatever they want to do, but give us that feeling of hopping on the game and having something to grind for. Number 16 is the 4th item slot. This adds build diversity. It would be so fun to have a 4th item slot. It would make some of the, you know, quote unquote bad items not so, you know, not so bad. It would add the ability to have like a majority tanky build, a balanced build, 2 and 2, a full damage build. It would give a lot of build diversity and a lot of like playstyle control for the way that these Pokemon play. I think it'd be really cool. Number 17 is another one I don't really care about too much, but it's mostly because they've actually done a good job of giving a lot of coins, tickets, and enhancers in a lot of the systems that they come out with. But no weekly coin cap could be cool, and they just adjust the raids. So that same thing, like we want to hop on, we want to grind for things. It's kind of the same thing as increasing the trainer level. We just want to be on the game and feel like we're getting something out of it. And that's honestly a lot of what Pokemon Unite is missing, is that feeling of, hey, I want to grind this game, but there's simply nothing to do. So this is just another one leading into that. Number 18, evolution locks and level locks. Essentially, if you're Lucario, you lane, you just keep getting stronger, stronger, stronger. If you're Pokemon that have evolutions, you can get stuck. You have to try to last hit, but then they're stronger than you, so it's harder to last hit. Then you're locked. Then you, next thing you know, you're rotating down to Dreadnought, and you're like level 3, level 4, level locked. It's just a really dumb system. It doesn't really make sense. It's not fair for certain Pokemon, and ultimately, I don't see why every Pokemon just can't passively tick into their next level like any other Pokemon could that doesn't have evolutions. It just seems like an unnecessary chokehold on Pokemon that evolve for some reason with no real benefit ever. Like, it doesn't really ever pay off that can happen. So I just think that it shouldn't happen. Number 19, punishments need to be harsher. No fair play points. The fair play point system is tried and true to not work. You know what I mean? It does nothing. And even whenever they do get kicked out, whatever, right? Like they don't change their behavior. It's not harsh enough. It doesn't condition the community. It doesn't build a culture around changing their behavior. Punishments need to be harsher. It's as simple as this. Someone's quitting out of ranked games. If they're leaving ranked games, if they're disconnecting out of ranked games, you ban them. You put them on a time lock, 10 minutes. They do it again within, you know, I don't know, 24, 48 hour period. You hit them with a 30-minute. They do it again, you hit them with an hour. They do it again, you hit them with 4 hours. You hit them again. You keep doing it until the player behavior changes. You alter the perspective of the community, and you build a culture of non-quitting and participation in order to change the culture, in order to make the game better. And I can already hear it because I said it on my stream. What if they have bad internet? If you have bad internet, I don't give a shit. That's not my problem. That's your problem. If you're out somewhere and you disconnect, sorry, not my problem. You just ruined the game for 9 other people. Figure it out. You know, you're an adult, and if you're not an adult, then this will be a great lesson for you to learn responsibility if you're a young adult. So yeah, no fair play points. Get rid of it. Start actually banning people for shitty behavior that ruins games. I have no sympathy for that. Number 20, surrender needs to be unanimously done, in my opinion. I'm so tired of being surrender outvoted by my team. It happens. It doesn't happen too often, but it happens. Also, can we get like maybe 1 or 2 votes per player max? I don't want to see this spammed by the same person every time they die. They're the only person that dies, and boop, there it goes. Also, make the window smaller, and or, you know what, I could have put this on here. Give me the option to auto-decline surrenders. I never want to see that box pop up. It's a 10-minute MOBA. It's especially for ranked, it's a 10-minute ranked MOBA. This could only honestly be just a ranked implementation. I'd be fine with that. It's a 10-minute MOBA. You don't have 10 minutes. You don't need to be playing ranked. And if you can't keep your mental intact to play for the full 10 minutes, you also don't need to be playing ranked. Get out of my games if it's not for you, or just learn, improve, and quit giving up. So again, some of these things like right here, this is about building culture. It's about building the community up to being this type of player, to being mentally resilient and not wanting to quit and not being able to quit. Because right now, current state of punishments, being a quitter is actually supported in the game. They don't punish enough. So all right, page 2, small healing nerf on the T2 goals and the home goals. So a while back, they did a buff to the healing on the tier 2 goals and the home goal. It's a little bit much, but I don't want to see them nerf it too hard, but it's a bit much. So I would like a small nerf to that. All right, ult resets. So ult resets, I believe, unless I'm wrong, they currently go down to 90%. This is mostly like a Charizard Serena thing, Delphox, Duraludon, Cinderace, like all of these ults that can get canceled. Getting your ult canceled is basically an insta loss. And while I do think it's a nice outplay, it's such a harsh outplay for such a short MOBA. You know, getting your ult canceled is can sometimes just be completely the end of the game. And so I'd like to see it get reset to a lower percentage, like only like honestly, I would be fine with 98%, but I wrote 95, 96% instead of 90%, just for the sake of being able to get back into the fight in like a couple seconds, you know, a handful of seconds, so that way you can continue to do what you need to do. And it was great that they kind of stunned you or you know, canceled your ult, but it feels really damning. And some of these ults are just so incredibly easy to cancel. So either changes to those ults or ult reset percentages being adjusted. Number 23, respawn timers in this game are terrible. You get punished for doing good. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So I think that you just make them correlated to a level. So X level equals Y time. For example, and this could be adjusted, I'm just making up numbers. Level 15 would always be 30 seconds. For example, again, level 14 would be like 28 seconds, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It's just really silly that you can have two people that die at the same part of the game or are near the same level and they have completely different death timers. Like that is simply not competitive and the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Number 24, jungle experience nerfs. Jungle is just way too overpowered. It gets way too much experience. It can snowball the games. It doesn't always do that, but it has the ability to, and I just think it's simple. Take the experience on Ludicolo and Buffalon and you nerf it. Just by a little bit. It doesn't need to be crazy, but it's way too high. Item builds of allies in Mon Select. So when you're in your Pokemon selection and you see all your allies, it'd be really cool as like as they're cycling through their Pokemon or as they're sitting on their Pokemon, you can also see their build. It gives you some context. It lets you know if they have a focus band, so you can play around their focus band. Lets you know if they're stacking. Lets you know if they're going defensive heavy or offensive. It would be really nice to be able to see that. As for in the in-game window, when you press start, it'd be cool if you could also see your enemies' item builds. This is for the same reason. Having context and information is super important. I want to know if they have a focus band. I want to know if they're stacking, or I want to know if they have an energy amplifier and I need to play around that damage. It would be really beneficial to be able to see the enemy items and such. Yeah. Number 27, nerf ranged red buff. I put 50% efficacy, but realistically, it just needs to be less. It could be a you know, a 25% nerf on ranged red buff. Basically, Cinder, you know, comes out of jungle. It's just an example. It could be Greninja. It could be anybody that has a ranged ability. They have red buff on, dude. It's oppressive. It's so frustrating. It just completely shuts you down in lane, and yeah, it's part of a discipline to not die to that, but I do think that it's a little overtuned personally. All right, number 28, we actually took a poll on this in stream, and this is where it landed, so we threw it on the list. Number 28, add an in-game scoreboard. This is a drastic change to the game. I kind of welcome it, but at the same time, I'm skeptical about it, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Would you like them to add a scoreboard in the game? And just keep in mind, for the sake of saying, most of these changes, or some of them, should be for the whole game, but most of them should be mostly just for ranked, so... Number 29, they've actually done a good job of this, is no ranked bot matches ever. They already don't have bot matches in Masters. They need to get rid of them entirely. It makes no sense to have any bot matches in a ranked system ever. There does not need to ever be bot matches in a ranked system. It makes no sense. Number 30, no performance points pre-Masters. These 2 points kind of go hand in hand. We got to stop giving handouts, man. We're about to talk about the rank system here in a second. We got to stop giving handouts. I know it's a Pokemon game. I know there's kids that play this game, but hey, I think that everybody needs to learn the value of working hard and earning something. And giving all these points out and these free matches and these this, that, the other, it's stupid. We got to stop it, man. We got to demand higher. We got to expect that our kids or whatever can actually learn and improve at things, because that's what we should be trying to teach them as parents. I'm not a parent, but that's what I would teach my kid if I had kids. So just saying, we got to stop giving handouts. It's really stupid. Number 31, pick ban phase. 1 ban per team. The highest rated player on the team chooses. Every other pick selection position is random. I think that's a pretty simple way of doing it. We need to pick ban phase super bad to get rid of mirror matches. We need to pick ban phase to you know, control the meta a little bit. Like Absol's crazy. At least we could ban it right now if we had to pick ban phase. We need to pick ban phase really bad. As for who gets to ban, highest rated player. I think that's a fair way of doing it. Sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't. As for what position you choose your Pokemon, it would just be random. That's fair. Or you could even make it to where it's like highest to lowest rated. That could also be fair. I think the last part of that is a little trivial. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, the highest rated player banning, I think you should be comfortable with that. Also, you're not always going to get what you want anyways. That's just life, you know? Another life lesson here in the midst of Pokemon Unite gaming. More and more life lessons. Number 32, this ties back into what I'm talking about. Harder rank system. Example, I think you should need a 50% plus win rate in order to climb. I think honestly that should probably happen around veteran, maybe mid-veteran. You should not be hitting ultra and masters with a negative win rate. That is come on now. I'm not even going to explain myself. It's ridiculous. Not going to happen. It can't happen. We shouldn't allow that to happen. We should demand more from that. Again, we should expect people to work hard for the things that they earn in this life. So and also, this is really important, you can lose masters. That needs to happen too. You can literally not lose masters. It's not possible. You need to be able to lose masters. This also ties into number 33, which masters should start at anywhere between 200 and 300 points. Now here's the reason why. If you can lose masters, we shouldn't be giving you 1200 points in the system, right? That's dangerous, because then you're just in there and it's like way too many points for free. If you started at 200 to 300 points, it would be like that. It's like a nice little boost, like, hey, you made it to masters, you're here, you have 200, maybe 300 points, whatever they landed on, and the system and the ranked mode is basically saying, you know what, you did it, congratulations, here's your little boost of 200 to 300 points. Prove to us that you earned it. You know what I mean? Prove to us that you're not going to lose these points and fall out of masters and climb, you know, actually climb up this system. Number 34, this is could be a controversial one, but I'm trying to explain it the best I can. Weekly or bi-weekly rank decay. What is rank decay? If you're in masters and you don't play, slowly over time you're going to lose points. This is important for leaderboard placements and for a couple of reasons. It keeps the ranked ladder thriving, keeps people continuously playing. You have to play if you want to keep your rank. It keeps the system competitive. People are constantly playing, trying to rank over each other, and it also just allows for people to not just sit still once they hit a rank, which I think is super silly. That said, I understand people have lives, people have families, they have hobbies, they play sports, they do this, they do that. I get that. So you need it to be reasonable on both ends, for the competitive integrity, for the health of the game, but also for the human being that's behind the screen. So weekly or bi-weekly rank decay, let's say if it was weekly, I think you make it like 3 to 5 games a week. Just make sure they're playing, right? If it's bi-weekly, same thing, you know what I mean? Like 5 games a week or whatever, you know, 10 games every couple weeks. Just make sure people are playing, so that way they're not, you know, getting force decayed, but they're also not just sitting still. I think that would be good. Number 35, and this has to basically come before all of, or after all of this, stricter matchmaking, but it needs to be reasonable within each rank. We'll start with this. Within each rank, veteran fights veteran, ultra fights ultra, master fights master, etc., etc. But it needs to be reasonable. You can't have a rank system where the matchmaking will only rank people within 100 points. It's just too restrictive. I think something like 500 points would be reasonable. It would still be a little bit open, but it would be reasonable, I think, in terms of queue times. This would have to be toyed with. The reason I use the word reasonable is because it's not for me to determine, right? I don't have the data, they do. But ultimately, we need a better system, which we've kind of started to talk about here, making it harder and making it require a little bit more skill. And then you can start to tighten the matchmaking a little bit. This is where we start talking about the system and how you actually climb. So I'm going to do my best to explain this really quickly. The point gain loss rate needs to be standardized with multipliers based on probability. What I'm basically saying here, and you can go do some research, is we need an ELO system, like an actual ELO system. So for example, how this would work is that a win would be plus 10 points, a loss would be minus 10 points, right? Cool, nice and standardized. But that's not really a fair system, not entirely. And the reason why is because not every team is exactly even. They're close, right? Based on the matchmaker, they should be close, but they're not exactly even. So there's probability to win. One team will technically on paper and in the system have a higher probability to win, and that should provide a small multiplier. And now I'm just making up some numbers here. But for example, if there was an average team of 1200 master rank point average, so you take all their numbers, you know, added up, divide by 5, versus a 1000 average team. This is the example. If the 1200 point team wins, they would get like plus 12. So they get their standard plus 10 and then like a plus 2 because they were supposed to win. It was the probability was in their favor. They were supposed to win. If the 1000 point team won, they get their plus 10, but they were supposed to lose. Probability was not in their favor. So now they're going to get a little bump, a small multiplier. So now they get like plus 16. So they get their plus 10 and then like an extra bump. And that would happen in 4 different ways. So like if the 1200 point team lost, they would lose their 10, but they would also lose a little bump. So they would like lose 16 points, and you know, you get the point. So having probability influence the outcome is really important because it makes the system much more accurate in terms of where the points are actually going. So we need, I mean, think about everything I've said. We need a better system. We need, you know, it to be a little bit harder, take more skill to rank up. You have to actually earn it. You can actually lose it if you're not doing well. You have to keep playing. The matchmaking would be a little bit more strict, and then we would have like a much more true kind of elo system to tie it all together. Again, I know these are big asks, but I actually think it's possible. The hardest part is this right here, the stricter matchmaking, making it reasonable. You know, that's just something that's a little bit difficult. They would have to mess with that. But number 37, rewards could be better, more prestigious, slightly harder to earn. Titles, be creative. So the reason why I said be creative here is because I don't always have great ideas for things, but rewards in the game in general could be better. They could be more prestigious. Right now, the 1800 rewards, all the rewards under it are basically for free if you play enough. So more prestigious just means a little bit harder to earn, or just better rewards. Titles are something that you could put on your trainer card that say like, oh, you know, season 4 rank, you know, 2085, you know, where it shows where you ended. Like, really be creative with the rewards. I think the rewards in this game are just super lackluster, and they're just kind of there. They're not really great. Regional leaderboards. I think it'd be really cool if you, on your actual profile, you could pick what country you belong to and then see where you rank up on in your region. I think that'd be really cool. Number 39, increase the global leaderboard number. Currently it's top 10k. Show like 50k or more. I don't really see why it only shows 10k. It's probably a tech thing, like they would have to just like make it pull more from the database or something, but only showing 10k is just really weird, because you can be like high up in points and you're just like, I don't know when I'm gonna hit this leaderboard, and you just kind of keep pushing and you see what happens. Number 40 is probably the most important thing on the entire list. It's a solo duo ladder and a leaderboard for solo duo, and maybe a 5-stack ladder. A trio queue has a little bit too much control. Quad queue, same thing. So you don't really want a ladder for those, and you don't want 3 ladders. That's dangerous, because then you're splitting the player base in too many ways. Honestly, I think having just a solo duo leaderboard or a ladder with a leaderboard is more important than having 5-stack leaderboards at all, or having a 5-stack ladder at all. But that's just my perspective. I think the game desperately needs a solo duo ladder, and then maybe it can also keep a 5-stack ladder. But I would do one. If I had to pick one, it would be solo duo only. And if we keep both, cool, that'd be cool too. Number 41, more divisions. This one's actually not necessary at all. I just think it'd be really cool. It would give us a little bit more to grind for. So for example, in my system, again, we're starting at 300 points, 200 points, just keep that in mind. In my system, masters would be from like 0 to 499. Grand masters would be like from 500 to 999. Elite would be from 1,000 to 1,499. Champion would be 1,500 to 1,999. And basically anything champion plus would either be categorized as champion, or you'd be forcing yourself into top 500, where the game actually just shows your rank being a number. So if you're like top 80, the game literally puts like an 80 on your you know, profile border whenever you're loading into the game. And these names can be changed. I don't actually care. Again, this system doesn't actually matter, because we could just go with points, but the naming convention makes it fun. It makes it something to grind for. You know, there's one thing to be like, oh, I'm pushing for, you know, 1,500 points, and there's another thing to say like, oh, I'm pushing for champion, right? Like, it just gives that feeling of like reward and prestige and feeling good about it, and earning something and working hard for it. And I think that's really cool. All right, this one is I'm a bit of a fence sitter on this one. Basically every competitive MOBA that ever has been in existence uses one ranked map, except for Here's the Storm. Now, Here's the Storm's not the most lively game in the world. We could have a whole discussion about why that is, mostly because of Blizzard, but they actually use multiple ranked maps. I think that Pokemon Unite would do really well with that kind of a style. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one in the comment section down below as well. Would you love to have multiple ranked maps? The way that it would work is it would be a relatively different game mode. It would probably have a scoring win condition, so it would mostly be the same in terms of how you actually win the game, but it could be different objectives. It could be 3 lanes. It could have a bigger jungle. It could have different kinds of like completely different objectives. It could be really, really fun. But yeah, how it would work is you would literally queue up. The game would open with what map you're playing, so you know exactly what map you're going into, and then you would be like picking your character, drafting, pick ban phasing for that map. So you would kind of have like mini pockets of metas within each map. Like maybe for, you know, remote stadium where Zapdos is, you know, rip comp is important, but maybe for, you know, XYZ map, you know, split pushers or ranged assassin, or, you know, ranged attackers and stuff is a little bit more meta. You never know. Could be really interesting. 43, each season needs to be bigger changes. It needs to be big swings in meta. really big patch notes, item changes, new items, vaulted items, get rid of some items for a season, bring them back another season, big balance swings, new maps for the new season, new Pokemon. If you look at how some other games do their season drops, they're massive, huge patch notes, new content, a new theme, a new battle pass. It's like it all culminates in this one point where the game is just new. And we just don't hardly ever get that feeling from the Pokemon Unite. It's just kind of like we just get like little trickles of content and like trickles of new things, like, oh, a new Pokemon's coming out, that's cool. Oh, there's a new battle pass, that's cool. The ranked season started, we literally just rolled over and got reset. It never feels exciting, you know. This all ties into the communication and the social media. I just feel like everything about this game could be done a little bit better in terms of new and big and exciting and prestigious and rewarding, and like all of those things that I want from a live service game are just missing from Pokemon Unite. And yeah, that's what I hope we see. It's just more stuff like that. 44, I put Zapdos changes. We could literally have a full discussion talking about what those should be, but I think everybody agrees that something about Zapdos needs to change. Health, the way that it works, the double points at the end, the instant scoring. Should it be a buff? Should it push down a lane? We could literally talk about it forever. We don't need to talk about it. I just think that most players would probably agree that we're not fans of Zapdos in the way that it works, at least in its exact form right now. All right, number 45 is that big one that I said will probably never happen. It's way too big of an ask, but it's a cool thing to add to the list. If you're a fan of Fortnite, if you even are just familiar with Fortnite, the way that they do tournaments is they essentially have a system that is entirely operated where you can queue into the game and play a tournament. That'd be super cool for Unite. Weekend tournaments for all different kinds of ranks. If you're a veteran, you queue for the veteran tournament. If you're ultra, you queue for the ultra tournament. If you're Masters Plus, you queue for the Masters Plus tournament. It puts you on a team. Maybe you queue with a team. You play for gems, you play for tickets, you play for a weekend hollowware or that month's hollowware if you can place in the top percentile. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a full tournament bracket that only leads to one winner. It could be a solo duo queue tournament where you and a friend queue into it. It puts you on a random team. You and that team play 3 games and you just do your best. And for every win, it leads to X amount of rewards. Maybe it's 5 games. It could be on the weekend in the evening time. Some kind of a tournament system built into the game would be so fun and would give people a lot of reasons to hop back in the game and keep playing. And then the rewards don't have to be crazy, right? Make some unique content for it. I think that this game is missing some of that oomph to it that I would love to see. So, all right, number 46, an avoid feature, 2 to 3 max, and then I need to put like per week. An avoid feature, this is an Overwatch. I didn't actually know it was an Overwatch. Haven't really ever paid attention to that. I think it was new by the time I had stopped playing. But essentially, we have blocking people, but it doesn't do anything. And you don't want to have a feature where you can just avoid and block people all over the place, because then it could get a little crazy and you can start to manipulate that. But an avoid feature would be like, you know what? I just really don't like playing with this person. I'm going to avoid them. You get like 2 or 3 avoids per week. At the end of the week, it resets and they just won't be matched on your team. You still probably match against them. That's fine, whatever. You just really don't want to play with them. You don't like the way they play. It would just be a little bit better. It's kind of like a mental feature, and just give yourself a way to kind of free yourself from some of the players that might be in the game. Yeah. Number 47, more unique, fun, quick play modes and game modes in general. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care about this one too much, but I know someone out there is just like expecting and wanting more fun little modes to play. I think the catch 'em mode was like cool, and it always feels like they're starting to make steps in the right direction with these modes, but ultimately there's just not really a reason for me to play them too much. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. But yeah, who could complain about more fun quick play modes? Number 48, I don't have an idea. I just simply don't. But the Unite squads in this game are useless. You can get like a sticker out of it every now and then. They're pretty useless. They're not really exciting or do anything crazy. Maybe they could come up with some kind of an idea for that, but that's why I literally just put it on the list like this. Like, what are we doing with those things? All right, 49, more achievements, better rewards / achievements. Listen, I know that shiny skins are really highly requested and talked about. They can't be sold as hollowware. They can't be rank rewards because you're going to force too many people to try to play ranked. There's a lot of people that don't want to play ranked. And essentially, I think that you have to do just achievements for shinies. do some like mastery level achievements where you have to knock out all the achievements for a Pokemon or some crazy achievement, and just add better rewards, more achievements, better rewards, achievements for all the Pokemon. Like, give that system a little bit of love, because I like that system. I don't go crazy for it. I don't ever actually look at it, but I like that the system exists and you can really master and kind of, you know, run down the achievements for those specific Pokemon, but like really invest in it a little bit. I'd love to see that. Number 50 is gems and battle pass. Honestly, I should have just put better battle pass, because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of think the battle passes kind of suck. The skins in them are good, but everything else is kind of okay. Like, some of the content that's in there is good, but it feels like the vast majority of the battle pass is just gems and item enhancers, or not gems, item enhancers and tickets, and that's not a very good thing in my opinion. That's not a very good thing in my opinion. I think that they need to do a little bit better job of making the battle passes a little bit more exciting, but that's just me. I personally don't spend money on them. Number 51, cheaper hollowware. You're not League of Legends Pokemon Unite, and you're never gonna be. $40 for a hollowware in this game, I'm sorry, it's simply, you have lost your damn mind. You know what I mean? You've lost your damn mind. The fact that people buy these is absolutely ridiculous. That's $20 cheaper than a full price game, and that's just crazy. I guess that this game is going after the whale market, because I can't imagine a world where like they're selling those, you know, to the vast majority of the player base. I would be much more willing to spend money on skins if they were much more reasonably priced and if the game was a little bit better, but that's just my personal take. There's not a chance in hell I'll ever spend $40 on a skin in this game. Number 52, better tutorials, more resources for players to find educational content that is approved. I wrote this really bad. Educational content that is approved. This is, you know, better tutorials won't fix the game, it won't make the player base better, but it can help, right? It's, you know, there's no better way of explaining, you know, what the game can do. You know, there's nothing better than explaining what the game has to offer in order to help the players improve. And then more resources for finding players, some educational content. Post up a, you know, this is ties into that communication social media thing. Post up a Spraggles video on Twitter, you know, link to his YouTube channel on the client, or, you know, like do a collab with him where he does an educational thing. They've done some of that on their website with like articles and stuff. Come on, put in some effort, you know what I mean? Like, put in a little bit of effort, put in a little bit of elbow grease to make the game and the player base a little bit better. 53, the last one we could think of to put on the list, and the one that I really want, is controller support for mobile. I hate playing on the Switch. It's a not very advanced piece of technology that I'm not a huge fan of, and would love to be able to play on mobile, but I'm not a mobile gamer. I still want to play with the old tried and true controller, so that's where I'm at. So friends, thank you so much for watching this video. This was actually a long one with all the explanations. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. I really do appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Got to keep pushing, got to keep fighting for a better Pokemon Unite, because if we don't, it won't happen, and the reality is it probably won't happen anyways. So most of these things will probably never ever hit the game, but I think that they're all amazing potential options for the game, and I would love to hear your thoughts. So drop a like on the video, subscribe for future Pokemon Unite content. As always, be sure to be kind of one another. Tell somebody you love them. I'll see you in the next video.